although August has not been Oklahoma's just month that we talked about. I mean, I think when we were talking about the month that Oklahoma can have, we were talking about this being historical because you had the chance to land not only the five-star defensive lineman David Stone, who's announcing on August 26th, but you had the ability to potentially land the five-star defensive lineman Williams Winery out of Lee Summit North. And then not to mention that, but we talked about coming off the hills of landing Jaden Nickens, Michael Patterson McDonald on the 31st. You thought, hey, Oklahoma, they're trending really well, and this class could look really good by the end of August. Well, you're kind of sitting here now and you're going, well, where's this really good class that all of you guys told us that we would have? And listen, sometimes we get it wrong, but Oklahoma, they still have a couple targets left for this month. And that's what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the five-star defensive lineman, David Stone. We're here to talk about Andy Bass, who's committing tomorrow on the 24th. So, guys, if you have not already, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are, because it's time. Oklahoma now potentially could get a five-star defensive lineman. It's coming. But before we talk about David Stone, we got to talk about the first commitment that's coming down, and it's going to be Andy Bass, the 5'11", 200-pound quarterback out of Heritage Hall in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, going to be committing on August 24th. This one's coming down between Syracuse, Oklahoma, and Kansas State. Kansas State has been the thorn in Oklahoma's side on the recruiting trail, landing an offensive tackle like Caden Massey that Oklahoma was in. You're going after Michael Boganowski, Grant Bricks, and not to mention they're going after plenty of other guys. But those are really the high-profile targets that you look at and say, Kansas State's kind of been there. Well, Oklahoma, I expect fully to come out and win this battle for Andy Bass. Listen, Brent Venables has talked about it. He wants to lock down the state. He wants to keep these kids here. And, well, I mean, you would think if that's the case, that Oklahoma is going to be able to land the commitment of Andy Bass in this class. Only time's going to tell. We'll find out tomorrow in just a few short hours. Is Andy Bass going to be in this class for the University of Oklahoma? But before we move on, we got to talk about how versatile he is and what he could potentially bring to Oklahoma. Because just last year, in 2022, he had 200 completions for 318 attempts, 2,833 yards, 28 passing touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions for Heritage Hall. That's pretty good for the quarterback side. But on the rushing side, a guy that can use his feet, 117 attempts, 970 rushing yards, and 17 rushing touchdowns. Andy Bass is a guy that you could see potentially running a Wildcat package, or maybe you put out a Dylan Gabriel, a Jackson Arnold, or an Andy Bass, or run some kind of package where you're running multiple quarterbacks and they don't know who it's going to go to. I'm sure Andy Bass is going to get touches at all positions at Oklahoma, whether it's running back, quarterback, or even maybe sometimes out in the wide receiver positions. Yes, you heard that right. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to showcase his talents as much as possible, because when you got a guy this versatile, he's going to be a Swiss Army knife for you on the offensive side of the ball. You have to be able to use him in all ways. So Andy Bass, we'll have to see how this commitment is going to come down for the University of Oklahoma. It's going to be exciting. But now we have to move on to the five-star defensive lineman, David Stone, a guy that grew up here in Oklahoma but is now at IMG Academy, because this is the one you all want to talk about. If you all saw the new crystal ball prediction come in from Justin Thind, I believe that's how you say his last name. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But a Michigan State insider putting in his crystal ball in favor of the University of Oklahoma. Oklahoma fans might be starting to get restless here. You've got Steve Wiltfong's crystal ball still in favor of Oklahoma. You've got Justin Thind, Andrew Ivins. Now, Brandon Drum still has his crystal ball in for 247 Sports, but he's with Rivals now, so he's got the future cast there. So you look at what Oklahoma could potentially get in David Stone. It's coming down the pipeline. August 26th is the date that all Oklahoma fans are watching, and it's one that you expect is going to land in Oklahoma's favor. Although, I will say this, Miami listen, they have been trending in this recruitment. They've really been trying to make some strides here, trying to get David Stone and his family to come to Miami, which, I mean, if you're Miami, you've lost Oklahoma now twice in this recruiting cycle, once for Devon Mitchell and then the other one for Gilmore. And you go, I don't want to lose again. And so they have to be able to come out guns blazing for the 5-star defensive lineman, which, I mean, even if they didn't lose all those other guys, they would still come out guns blazing because it's a 5-star defensive lineman. Anybody's going to try to land a guy like that. But David Stone, a guy that grew up in Oklahoma City, you expect, although he's playing at IMG Academy, his love for the Sooners, his love for the state, that is going to win out, right? I mean, I feel like we've all been saying that. So it's going to be curious to see exactly where this recruitment trends and where it's going to land. Can Oklahoma go a perfect 2 for 2? And I did some calculations here because I know we like doing this. We like playing the hypothetical scheme. If Oklahoma only gets Andy Bass, yes, you heard me right, only gets Andy Bass, it brings them up to a 246.61 composite score ranking. You might be asking, well, where does that put Oklahoma? It's going to put them to jump Miami as of right now. Obviously, if Miami lands David Stone, completely different story. But it would put them at number 15, so they jump up one spot, and they'd be right behind Auburn, who currently has 2 5-stars committed in their class, which we'll have to talk about that one in a video at another date because Auburn's just doing something different. But let's go over here to the class calculator and let's add in David Stone and let's see exactly what this does to the class. David Stone brings Oklahoma up to a 258.84 composite score, giving Oklahoma not 1, but 2 5-stars in this class, and finally giving Oklahoma fans that coveted interior 5-star defensive lineman. Because I say that because we've already landed a 5-star defensive lineman before in PJ Adebayor in last class, but I get it. He's not interior. You guys want to see interior. Where does that put Oklahoma? It would jump them all the way up to number 12, jumping Auburn, Clemson, and Oregon. Now, you're jumping Oregon by a very slight margin. I mean, very slight margin. But they would be right behind Notre Dame, who is at number 11 with 22 commits in this class, 14 4-stars, and 8 3-stars. So Oklahoma is positioning themselves really well to try to scratch into the top 10. And you never know. If they're able to flip a Williams Nwaneri, they're able to get a Dominic McKinley, which, guys, although it sounds like it's trending towards Texas, as I keep telling you, this is a coin flip. It could still go in Oklahoma's direction. I still like Oklahoma for Dominic McKinley, and right now, I'm not moving off that train. Dominic McKinley is a guy that loves the Soul Mission, and although Texas has a really good engineering program, he still has an opportunity to be a part of the engineering program at OU, play football, and have a career in the NFL being coached by the likes of Todd Bates. But guys, I want to hear from you. So go ahead, jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are around 5-star defensive lineman David Stone, the 3-star athlete Andy Bass. Where do you think they commit? Where do you think they end up playing their college football career?